Welcome to the Road Soda Podcast. The Road Soda Podcast is your entertainment podcast on the go. Your host Isaiah Cooper and Kristie, and an occasional third wheel, present a variety of fun segments from offbeat news to Netflix reviews, with interludes from our sponsors and parent company, Popco Brands. Fasten your seatbelts and please listen responsibly to Road Soda. Hello and thank you for cracking another street pop.
Did you do that for me?
No. The only podcast that is also transcribed to hieroglyphs.
Okay, that's good.
Very difficult. And expensive. On this episode, the French toss isn't just for the bedroom. Prince Edward Island has a dick you can land a plane on. And surprisingly, it's not pierced.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
I don't know.
He should have added that.
It was just hanging out there. No one.
Yeah, I agree.
Picked up on
Out
it.
of all the puns
I know.
in that article.
How come there's no
There was
little
no
ring on there?
Yeah, there's no
Probably didn't even know what it was.
piercing joke.
I think a guy driving a tractor around doesn't know what a Prince Edward is.
Agree to disagree, but continue.
You know about those tractor drivers, huh?
I know about them Pierce dingers.
Pierce Dingers and Tractor Drivers. That's the name of my country music CD. And we dig into a tomb to find out...
How much Isaiah knows about it.
What?
I'm so sorry.
Let's try that again, baby. And we dig into a tomb to find out what he doing.
That was really good. And also how much Isaiah knows about it.
A lot. Thanks.
How many minutes worth, do you know?
50.
Are you serious?
Maybe.
Did you talk for 50 minutes?
No, we all talked.
No,
there were two people talking,
No,
and you were there.
talked for 50 minutes.
You were there.
I
was
sat
there.
here like an angel, maintaining eye contact with you for an hour while you talked about weather and civilizations.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, it's kind of a balancing act that I do.
It's
between being so... Betwixt being so smart and knowing so much about everything. And then also...
flex more than just your biceps.
Fuck yeah, look at these fucking... Look at these 26-inch pythons, brother! I doubt they're fucking 26 inches. It's a balancing act between, being so smart and also, working on these biceps in the gym with glasses on.
That have both lenses.
Yeah, they did. Do you want to enlighten people?
About the time that you messaged me to let me know that my blue light glasses that you wore to the gym to protect yourself from all the blue light in the gym.
I will succeed and say I
you
wore
can
them
talk afterwards
to look cool. Okay.
Of course you did, as anybody does that wears non-prescription glasses.
Yeah, I wanted to look cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
To look, because you're so smart, you need to look smarter.
Yeah, I need people to know.
And you messaged me to let me know that somewhere between working out and getting into the sauna that you had lost a lens to the glasses. In which I let you know.
Yeah, when I went into the sauna, I put them in my bag, and then when I went to pull them out of the bag, the lens was missing. So I was like, it must have popped out and fell somewhere in my bag or fell out of my bag. Yeah.
So you wanted to let me know.
Yeah, because that's the right thing to do. I broke the glasses, so I didn't.
And I thought the right thing to do was to let you know that I'd actually found those glasses the night before. I got home from work and they were on the floor, and I found them on the floor and I picked them up and I noticed a lens was missing. And I was going to throw them away, but I didn't because your son loves to pretend he can read with them on. And he loves to play with them. So I thought I'll just keep them and he can still play with them. And then you told me that I was mistaken.
Well, yeah, because I wore them for 2 hours at the gym, babe.
With one lens.
No. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mean
So
to tell
you
me...
wore glasses to look cool at the gym. And didn't realize that there was only one lens in the glasses.
Because that's not what happened. Look, I put those on. I saw them sitting on the table.
You told me that you... Okay, go ahead.
They were sitting on the table.
Yeah. On the table that I set them on.
Yes.
When I found them off the floor.
Yes.
Okay.
And I picked them up off the table on my way to the gym, and I said, I'm going to wear these.
For what? Why were you
to
wearing
look
them?
cool.
Got it. Thank you.
This is not funny.
I'm just glad you're admitting that
You're so funny. You think you're so funny. Look, are you trying to tell me? And then I got into the car, and I realized that they were crooked on my head. And I looked into my rear view mirror, and I saw them like really twisted on my face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's going on? So I took them off, and I looked, and I could see one of the arms was bent. So I gently bent it back because I don't want to break the glasses.
Because then what would you wear to look cool?
Exactly. No,
I
wouldn't have glasses.
I totally get it.
So and then I put them back on my face. I wore them on the drive. Wore them in the gym.
Do you want to tell everyone how you quote unquote wiped the sweat off the lenses?
I did. It was actually when I was doing the leg extensions, and I noticed that my sweat was collecting. It was getting a little steamy.
Must have been on just one lens.
And I took them off, and I used my shirt to clean the lens.
That I must have thought. Coincidentally.
Well, you didn't put them on and wear them.
I mean, I put my finger through the hole. I looked. I'm like, wow, the lens is, like see if there's any broken. It just popped out. Did it break? What happened? How did the glasses get broken? We won't go there because we don't know.
That is something we don't know. But
I have my
what we
theories,
do know,
but we won't talk about
But
this.
what we do know is that probably got lost in my bag at the gym.
They were already broken. They were actually already broken.
How would I have worn them on my face and checked them and held them and handled them?
As we later discovered, when we tried to put them on again, I put them on, and when you're looking at them, because they're fake and non-prescription, you can't really tell that there's not a lens in there. It looks normal because it's just glass.
Clear.
Yeah, exactly. So you didn't realize that a lens was missing, and you wore them.
Are you trying to tell me everyone that was looking at me, they weren't looking at me because they thought I was
Because you look
cool?
so cool in those glasses.
They were like, oh, he's got is that what you're trying to say to me?
The lens is missing.
Why is that guy got a lens missing in his glasses? Is he?
I hope he can see.
Is he some kind of funny guy, or is he like? Does he know?
I think logically it makes sense that the glasses I found the night before with the missing lens, the lens was probably already missing. Not that I thought I saw a missing lens, and then it was just like some sort of premonition. You know what I mean? I was like, I see this in the future. That's probably.
I think it's more
right?
of a logical explanation.
Yeah.
Because how did I wear them? And
I mean, I know you're so smart. You know so much about all these ancient
and
civilizations.
also what's on my face.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is there a lens? Have you found a lens in the house?
No, I haven't looked for it. Did you find a lens in the bag that the
yeah,
lens?
No, I
fell
didn't
out of?
because I looked and it wasn't there.
That's interesting.
But it's not in the house.
Have you looked? Did you look under the couch? Did you look anywhere around on the floor where I found them?
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I looked in the hallway. I looked by the closet door. I opened the closet. I looked in the closet. I looked under the little table.
Would you look under the couch?
No. But I looked. You didn't look. I looked.
So
this will be settled. If you find the lens in the house, this will be settled. I think it's settled
when I found the broken glasses the night before you used them.
Okay, well...
I just think it's...
I don't know that you did because you didn't tell me they were broken until after I told you they were broken.
You were very busy those couple days, and I didn't want to bother you.
It was the night before, so it was the night before you came home and you found them, and then the next morning I left.
Yeah.
And I told you they were broken. And
I said, no, that's okay. I already found them. I found them broken last night.
Okay, but so we can't prove that until we can't.
So you don't trust me?
I think that it would be fun for you to make me think that I went to the gym with one lens.
I am the world's worst liar.
Or the world's best, because that's what the world's best liar would say.
I don't think so.
Well, if we find the lens, we'll see. If we find the lens, right? Mm-hmm. If the lens is found in the house, then I wore the glasses like an idiot.
I want to do something like this with you. I just want to break something and put it in there, and you find. I just want to role reverse this somehow. And then you're going to be like, no, it's broken. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, I want to like break. Yeah, I want to do something like this. I'm going to get you back.
But see, because what happens is when I find something that's broken, I tell you and I say, hey, this is broken, because that's the response.
Probably because I was approachable at the time.
Yeah, well, I texted you and they were technically yours, and because I broke them, I think that's what I do.
So do you want me to start telling you everything of mine that I break?
No, but if you break something of mine.
Yeah, but I didn't. So there was no need for me to tell you that I found something of mine that was broken. Yeah. Assuming that you broke them. Yeah. Because I didn't break them. You still could have, I don't wear them around the house to look cool. I don't really wear them.
Right. Well, the only way this is getting settled is if you find that thing in the house. If someone finds it. I will succeed. I will succeed, and I
just want to know why you stopped wearing them to the gym. Like, why stop now? You could just be the guy with one lens.
Does sound pretty cool.
You look pretty cool.
Thanks. I know I do. That's
I
why
really wanted to actually tell everyone about this. And I'm really glad that you remembered to do it.
Of course I do.
That you went to the gym to try and look cool, to wear a pair of fake glasses, only to find out that you worked out the whole time, angrily listening to metal with one just raging out, lifting really heavy stuff, big tough guy, one lens. It brings me so
but only
much
I
joy.
didn't, because there was two lenses. There was two lenses. No, there was two lenses.
An immeasurable amount of joy.
And there were two lenses when I had it, and when we find the other one in the house, if it's in the house, which I don't think it is. I think it's somewhere around in the showers at the gym, because that's where.
Because you showered with them on too?
No, they were in my bag, and I was taking things in and out of my bag.
It's when you noticed.
Well, no, it wasn't until I was out of the shower.
So when you denied it immediately and said that I must be a stupid woman thinking I saw a missing lens, was it just
perfectly reasonable? Perfectly reasonable.
Did you feel stupid then, or is it only sinking in now?
No, I don't feel stupid, because I didn't wear glasses with one lens.
I know you didn't wear glasses with two lenses.
I wore glasses with. Don't. I see what you're doing. You're trying to use your gypsy woman tricks to confuse me, and it's not going to work. Okay? If we find the lens, I will say. And look, if I find the lens, I'll tell you, because I want.
You're not going to find the fucking lens.
Why not?
Because it's not in your bag or at the gym.
Exactly.
It's at the house. I don't...
If it's found... All right. Guys, what do you think? You want to call in to Road Soda? You can call in, leave a message. We'll play it on the next episode. And let's weigh in. Let's see if we find this lens. Let's see what happens. RoadSodaMail at
What
Gmail.
A mystery.
I know. What a mystery. RoadSodaMail at gmail.com. You can write in. Let us know what you think. Also, 706-200-1213. You can call in, leave a message, and tell Kristie that how could I possibly have adjusted and fixed them and put them on my face and worn glasses with no lens? What do I look like, an idiot? I run a whole podcast, babe. I run a whole podcast. All right. Also, guys, I don't really proselytize this a whole lot, but if you're listening to the show, if you enjoy the show, if you can write us a review, if you're listening to wherever you listen to it, you don't have to go in multiple places, but if you're listening to it on Spotify and there's a way to write a review, that'd be awesome.
You do know that when they listen to this halfway through the show, you bash people for writing reviews, because you say that only douches write reviews because they're really angry and they only write bad reviews that nobody actually writes.
But we're talking about Yelp reviews. We're talking about reviews for restaurants, not podcasts. Podcasts, people love podcasts. People love me. They love you.
I feel like I'm seeing a pattern here.
All right. Well, anyway, if you do write a review for the podcast, we read them. We read all the reviews. We read all the reviews on air, so you can get your review read. Let us know what you think, and then also, if you do, we'll send you a postcard.
I'm really sorry. Did I ruin your review?
Not at all. Speech? No, you didn't just ruin that. You ruined everything, Kristie. You ruin everything all the time. We'll write you. We'll send you a very special Road Soda podcast
and a picture of my tits
postcard, and that'll probably get a little more. Yeah, we'll send you a picture of Kristie's tits. So, write a review, get a picture of Kristie's tits. This review comes to us from Anna Hart.
Oh my God, who is that? What a lovely name.
What a lovely name. Almost exactly like my sister's name. 5 stars. It's the only soda I drink. Booyakasha. And the ads are the best out there. Thank you, Anna. 5 stars. Hell yeah. We have another review. This one says, endless entertainment. This podcast is one for the ages. Damn Skippy. There are so many aspects to what they're doing, from the voice acting, sponsorships, to the breaking news segments. The humor is on par or better than anything I've listened to before. It is a must listen to. That is for everyone. Yeah, it's a must listen to. That is for everyone. A+. Three out of 5 stars. 5 stars. And that's from, the name is Z Nels. Thank you, everybody. The people that wrote those 2 reviews, that means a whole lot. We don't have a whole lot of reviews. We've got a shit ton of episodes. We've been around for a very long time. Not a whole lot of people writing reviews. But if you're listening to Apple, if you're listening on the Apple Podcast app, it really, really helps a lot just to write a review. Because it puts us, the algorithm picks it up more. It puts us in front of more people's faces. So it helps if you can write and review. Thank you so much. Also, I say this a bunch. If you ever want to call in, if something strikes your fancy, you hear something, go ahead, pick up your cell phone or your house phone or whatever you got.
Jiminy Christmas.
Jiminy
That's a
Christmas.
great idea.
And you dial 706-200-1213. It's going to go to voicemail. Leave a voicemail, and we will play it right here on the show. Speaking of which, we do have a voicemail right here that I'd like to play.
Is it about your car warranty?
No, that was the last one. Last one was a car warranty. No, let's go ahead and listen. Ready?
Hi, my name is Phil. You can follow my Twitter handle at Feminist Defender, and check out my Facebook page, Crusaders for Women. I only listen to the show for the lovely and amazing Kristie. I'm not too keen on the other guy. In fact, I mainly listen just to make sure the female voice is always being heard and that toxic male garbage is treating you right. Kristie, I couldn't help but notice in the last episode, something seemed off. You seemed timid and scared and not as happy and joyful as usual. Is everything okay? Is that masculine trash person treating you right? Is he listening to your opinions? Does he rub your feet? I would rub your feet. I know you can't say anything, but if you need help, clear your throat. He'll hear that. Just if you need help, just look me up at Feminist Defender on Twitter and DM me. I promise I won't treat you like he does, that dumpster fire man with his archaic view of gender roles. Gross, yuck. We can both cry together after sex. You and me. Call me, and fuck you, Isaiah.
Wow. A lot of different people out there listening to the podcast. Thanks for your concern, Mr. Feminist Defender, but everything's fine with Kristie. Right, Kristie? Everything's fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are you clearing your throat? Do you have something in your throat, Kristie?
No, sorry about that.
Is there something we need to talk about?
My feet really hurt.
I think I know somebody. Why don't you go ahead and slide into the old Crusaders DMs. See what he's got to do. You two can cry after sex, like he said.
Oh, you and I already do that.
No, that's what he said. That's what he said. No, we don't do that. You do that. Look. Thanks for your concern, but Kristie's just fine, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Quit clearing your throat. What the fuck is going on? Oh, man. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. You can also leave your messages, 706-200-1213. But first...
How about...
What the fuck is going on? How about another word from our sponsor? We're going to have a talk on this sponsor break, okay? Nice. I'm going to crack these knuckles, and we're going to have a talk, Kristie. Nice, long talk. How about another word from these sponsors?
Yes.
Hello, my name is David Goldberg of Goldberg, Burgold and Boldger Law Firm and Associates for All Law. We handle all law. That's right, all law. Criminal, family, business, personal injury, estate, and immigration. You never know when you may need to call Goldberg, Berg, Gold, and Boldgerg. Perhaps you recently got into an argument with a spouse over a pair of glasses you may or may not have worn for a period of time with a lens missing. Your significant other only divulges to you that they knew the lens was missing after the first stated to them it was missing. Your spouse then begins to ridicule and belittle you, and then shortly after the feud, your significant other goes missing with no word or trace as to where they may have gone. If this or something like this has happened to you, you need proper legal representation, and you need to call Berg, Gold, and Boldgerg Law Firm and Associates for all law. And remember, it doesn't matter what sort, if it's in court, we're here for support.
Here we are back again with the news update the world has been holding their breath for. The things we just can't live without. First up, how you doing tonight, Kristie?
So great.
I'm trying to just shift this whole. All right. Okay, your temple set was a little concocted, as we like to say. And okay, here we go. Everybody, hold on to your pants. We've got a news article coming in, and this one I said no bad reviews. TripAdvisor issues warning for Thailand resort after guest jailed for leaving Let's try this again. TripAdvisor issues. We'll do it live. TripAdvisor issues warning for Thailand resort after guest jailed for leaving negative review.
Wow.
Yeah. Ain't that some cool stuff?
Don't do that.
No bad reviews. Welcome to the resort. No bad reviews. It was in the brochure, and they still did it. They knew. TripAdvisor... So the travel company posted a controversial warning. How is that controversial? That's like a very, hey, don't leave a bad review. I know that, that's the whole point of reviews, is to give your review.
Only good ones.
But just be warned, this country might put you in jail. Controversial warning on the Sea View Resort in Koh Chang, an island about 300 kilometers southeast of Bangkok. Warning potential visitors about a previous incident where a guest was jailed for posting a public complaint about his experience. This hotel or individuals associated with the hotel filed crime charges against a TripAdvisor user in relation to the traveler writing a posting online reviews. Wow. The reviewer spent time in jail as a result. TripAdvisor serves its users best when travelers are free to share their opinions and experience on our platform, both positive and negative. The hotel may have been exercising its legal rights under local law. However, it is our role to inform you, so you may take this into consideration when researching your travel plans. I wonder what the actual review said.
Right? That's what I want to know.
Mr. Barnes wrote of encountering unfriendly staff and accused the Seaview Hotel and Spa of Koh Chang Island of modern-day slavery following a dispute over a corkage fee. Do you know what a corkage fee is?
Yeah, a corkage fee is when you bring a bottle of wine or champagne or something to a restaurant. Some people just do it because they want their own stuff or a nice bottle or whatever. But to open it and serve it inside the restaurant, they charge you a corkage fee.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but some people can get really ridiculous with it. Like some people, there's like $7 corkage fees. There's like $45 corkage fees. So,
I mean, if you're handling like a $200 bottle of wine that you brought from home.
Well, it's like to deter people from like thinking you're going to save money by bringing your own wine. Yeah. Like that's not what this is. You can have a bottle of wine and bring it in, but I'm still going to charge you for the bottle of wine is basically what it is.
I get it.
Which is shitty, but yeah, I get it.
It is shitty, but in the circumstances where I could imagine myself bringing in a bottle of wine, it would probably be because it's like a special occasion.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's a special occasion, I would want that bottle of wine treated.
Or I'd want it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'd want it
treated special.
Yeah.
But that people even do like plating fees. Like if you bring a birthday cake into a restaurant, they'll charge you like per plate.
Makes perfect sense. Like, what's the point of having a restaurant?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point of me having a restaurant if you're going to bring your own food? Why just serve it to you for free? Go fuck yourself. Right? Makes sense. Do not sleep here. Don't support modern day slavery of Thai people, Mr. Barnes wrote in the review. Sounds like Mr. Barnes was kind of a dickhead.
Right.
You know, it sounds like Mr. Barnes probably needed to be put in timeout in a Thai prison.
He was.
In a Thai prison for a day or two. The hotel said in a statement it would be pleased to conclude the complaint under conditions that Mr. Barnes shows his sincerity and takes full responsibility for what happened and remedy the situation. Sounds like he was probably a bit of one of those... Anyone writing reviews, first of all, and is already a bit of a dickhead. A lot of times. A lot of times, there are more bad reviews written than good because that's the only time they want to write the reviews when something bad happened, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like the guy, but if this guy's like, that's what I do, and I go, I write reviews, he's probably like looking for something. He's just already expecting this really specific catering to him, and people aren't. He's arguing with people, and he's like, no, I don't corkage fee, go fuck.
Right.
Who's already being a dick? Sentenced. Wow, the maximum sentence. Hold on. Thailand's tough criminal defamation laws have long drawn scrutiny from human rights and press freedom groups. Who say it is used as a weapon to stifle free expression. The maximum sentence is 2 years in prison and a fine of $9,150.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking crazy. But it's also like a country where they're like, cut your head off for smoking weed and shit like that.
Let's go there.
Yeah, I know, right? That's not great. I think that's Singapore. Singapore, their drug laws are like death for like any drug. Isn't that crazy? Whew.
Graham Hancock would not approve.
He would not, Mr. Hancock. Mr. Hancock.
Not approve.
Not approve of that. He wants freedom over his consciousness. What a dick. What are you, a druggie? What do you need your drugs, Mr. Hancock? Okay, Kristie, let's get on track here. We have another one come up. This is yours.
You call it the French toss isn't just a sex move.
You ever done the French toss?
I didn't think we were going to talk about that on here.
Well, you know. It is my favorite move. It's not a relation. The marriage isn't consummated until you've done the French toss.
The French toss?
Ooh.
What's the French toss?
Baby, this is...
Go on, tell him.
You know. Okay, so first of all, you know what French kissing is, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's just like that.
But on your butthole.
And you do it to each other's buttholes at the same time.
So it's like butthole 69ing.
A little more eloquent. You have to be in midair.
Bunghole 69.
The French toss. The French toss. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
French school asks parents to stop throwing children over the fence when they're late. Today in news we didn't expect to write, a French school has asked parents to stop throwing their children over the fence when they're running late for school. Triad. The primary school has asked parents to stop throwing their kids over the 1.8 meter high fence to get them to school. The school put up signs to try and stop parents from tossing the children over the fence and gate. The sign warns of the danger of throwing a child over the fence.
Of course I know there's dangers. What's the point of having a tiny human if you can't throw them every once in a while?
Especially when they're running late.
Like, you're running late and you're going to walk all the way around the fence. And all it takes is like one parent seeing another parent do it.
Right.
And you're like, a good idea.
Right.
Fucking toss that kid. I'm walking around. I'm not even late. I'll just throw him. I don't want to walk.
I do not throw my children over the gate. Instead, I return at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. when the gate reopens. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's a quote.
No, I know, but like, so what if the gate's closed?
Then you got to throw your kid.
Yeah. I'm not going to come back at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. when the gate's open. I'm going to toss that bitch.
You toss that bitch over the fence. Get to school, kid. I'll be damned if you take my 8 hours of free time away from you. You get over that fence.
The article just goes on to repeat the same sentence a bunch.
Oh, it's our favorite kind of article.
Irresponsible parents who arrive late throw their children over the fence. It hasn't happened that many times, but as little as it happened, we prefer to get ahead of it. Parents who arrived after the bell were literally throwing their children.
No, you're not staying home with me.
Would Barb have thrown you or not have thrown you?
If she could lift me. If she could lift me. There was this one time I was on my way to the bus stop in this house. And the family up the street had a little wiener dog.
Yes.
You know about those.
I do. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Moment of silence.
You miss him so much, don't you?
You know what I loved the most about him?
That he's gone.
And the blood.
He's black?
The blood that he would spit up all over our sheets. That was my favorite thing.
That was cruel.
What? No. It was what did Daniel Cha say? It sounded like a trout. It smelled like a trout shit down his throat.
Only funny because it's true.
Yeah, he had bad breath. But so they had this wiener dog.
Yes,
right?
sorry. Back.
And their kid was also going to school, and the bus was basically like pulling up, and their kid came out, and the wiener dog came out, and I'm running to the bus. So the dog wants to run with you. If you're running, dogs just want to run too, right? So I'm running, and the dog runs in, and I'm making motions with my hand, so I'm sorry everybody, but I'm trying to show Kristie. He runs up along my left foot, right? And he keeps...
What'd you do?
Just watch, right? So he keeps scooting closer and closer, and I'm just like, he's like bumping into me.
Yeah.
So I stepped over him, so now he's between my legs, right? And then he shoots back out as I'm stepping down, right? I didn't step on him. What he did was he just pushed my foot out. So when I stepped, it made me like roll my ankle in a full sprint, right? And so like my ankle like drove into the ground and my foot was sideways. And I collapsed to the ground screaming in agony because it was like
Why would you try and straddle the dog?
I was running to the bus. I needed to get on the bus, and the dog it ran next to me, and like I try to like step on the other side of it, and like, what the fuck's going on? I'm a kid, right? And then the dog it's confused, so it moves out as I'm stepping down, and I drove my ankle into the ground, just collapsed. You know, my
After that,
backpack
did you
on.
fall down in agony?
Yeah, and I was crying. I was screaming and crying, right?
Aww.
And a friend of mine ran back to my house. And the bus, like I said, the bus is like pulling around. He runs back to the house. He knocks on the door. And he says, "Hey, Isaiah hurt himself really bad." My mom comes out in her bathrobe screaming at me. She goes, "You are getting on that fucking bus. Get up.
Stop.
Get on that bus." Yes, scream.
Oh my God.
Get on that bus. Right? So I get onto the bus. I couldn't fucking walk. I had to like, I literally could not walk. And then I think it was like the second class of the day was PE, and I was sitting in PE with my legs out in front of me. I like not crisscross, but I was like sitting, under the pavilion with my legs out, and the coach was going around like taking attendance. And as they passed me, they saw my feet and they saw my ankle, and it was so fucking swollen. It looked like I had massive kinks. Like, whoa, like what is wrong? And they're like, "Is your foot okay?" And I'm like, "No, I heard it this morning." They're like, "You need to go to the, you need to go right now down to the, So I went down to the nurse, and the nurse was like, "Can you walk?" And I'm like, "No." And then they called my mom, like, "You need to come get your kid." And mom was like, "God damn it!"
Right.
So the nurse, it was the one, like, it was one of those times where it's like, I was like, "I need to be here. I can't go home." "What do you want me to go home?"
Right.
She saw this happen. She sent me here. She doesn't want to deal with this shit. I couldn't walk it was like a week. I couldn't fucking walk.
Sounds like a terrible sprained ankle.
It was. I had real bad sprained ankles all the time. You wouldn't know, though. You don't get it. You just don't get about injuries like that.
No.
Next up, Dolphin Son. More like Dolphin Son.
Yes.
Mr. Dolphin Son. This comes to us from Fox News.
In North Korea.
North Korea may be militarizing dolphins, report says.
I like it.
Yeah, of course. North Korea has proposed its...
Repurposed.
Whoa. North Korea has repurposed its porpoises. Those Fox News cats.
I like it.
First of all, why are they saying North Korea has repurposed its porpoises? Like, since when has North Korea had porpoises? Oh, those North Korea dolphins, right. I'm sorry. I didn't know. They had dolphins. Since when did they get their hands on dolphins?
Probably brought them there like the Egyptians.
I know, those dirty, no-good scoundrels. For war, a report said Wednesday. The Hermit Kingdom appears to be training dolphins as part of its naval force, according to satellite images obtained by nonprofit United States Naval Institute.
This is the start of a beautiful movie.
Isn't it? Yeah, like what, one with Dr. Evil?
Training
I want
dolphins is what
lasers on their heads.
Right.
The images show animal pens floating in murky waters between a shipyard and coal loading dock with warships based nearby. It appears that the North Korean program dates back to...
I just want you to know it is called the Naval Marine Mammal Program. Sorry.
It's not like they weren't really... They were a little on the nose about it. If you a little on the bottle nose about it. I bet they're probably those ugly dolphins too. You ever seen like the ones that have like... Oh, I can show you some ugly dolphins.
No, I know. But...
You ever seen the Amazon dolphins, the freshwater Amazon dolphins?
Uh-huh.
They're fucking hideous.
So ugly.
Have you? Well, I'll show you pictures. Another base further up the river on the edge of town seems to be where the dolphins are being bred. Report said, the U.S. Navy pioneered the use. The U.S. Navy pioneered the use of. We did it first. Of marine mammals, including dolphins and sea lions for military purpose, such as spotting mines and locating enemy swimmers. God, could you imagine?
That's fucking crazy.
I know. To date, only the Russian Navy with bases in the Arctic and Black Sea had followed suit. It's possible the marine mammal pens spotted in North Korea are some type of fish farm, many of which are run by the kingdom's armed forces. However, the enclosures seen in the satellite images aren't consistent with other fish farms in the nation. The pens also appear to be sized for dolphins, based on comparisons to the ones used by the American and Russian forces. Wow. For a dolphinarium.
I like that.
Also trains purpose in the capital, in Pyongyang. And because of the overlap between the country's military and civilian apparatus, it's possible the Navy also benefits from the program. So it sounds like they have like a SeaWorld, and they're just like, hey, we have just Kim Jong-un's got like dolphins that he hangs around with and plays with, and they're also strap lasers to their heads and send them out. Interesting.
Fascinating
stuff. These Koreans, a little behind.
Not quite like the Japanese we love so much.
Yeah. No, they would never use a dolphin. They would use people. They'd strap bombs to the people, and the people would just swim into the ships and blow up. Boom! That's a kamikaze joke. Because the kamikaze pilots.
Yeah.
Really waste of troops and planes, really. Why don't you just shoot bombs? Like, why you gotta destroy the whole plane, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
So weird.
Very weird. Weird. W-I-W-E-I.
Mm-hmm. R-T.
Any more brain busters?
Weird.
Next up for the weird news, Miss Kristie.
Just the kind of statement we need.
Just the kind of statement we need right now.
In anti-racist statement, chess champs let black move first.
That's nice. Where was this article last week when we were doing the Queen's Gimlet?
Right?
I know. That seems like a little. It's like a tradition
Was
of a
that
game.
last week?
Yeah,
It was?
yeah.
Wow.
The Queen's Gamble. The Queen's Humboldt.
World chess champion Magnus Carlsen and Dutch rival Anish Giri
Gross, Kristie.
are marking a UN international campaign against racism by playing a game in which, contrary to the long-standing rules of the game, the player with the black pieces made the first move.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now we're getting some shit moving.
I hate it.
Now that we have these well-known chess masters that everyone idolizes, just like a football player or anybody else.
Do you really think the oppressed black people would like to be compared to a black chess piece?
I know, right?
That doesn't sound...
Why don't they let the black chess player play first?
That makes more sense. Mm-hmm. It kind of does.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there are any black chess masters.
In an anti-racist movement at the dog race, they let the black dogs go first. Like, it makes no sense. That's so stupid.
Let's see, what
Go
else?
on, what else you got?
What else we got? In the new anti-racism, the footballs are now black instead of brown.
On your burritos, you
get-
can get black beans instead of pinto beans.
Only black beans.
Yes.
Right. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
A video of the encounter was released this week on Mr. Carlson's Facebook page. The players said the game was being played as a quote-unquote symbolic gesture
Thank you, Magnus.
to mark the UN's International Day for the Elimination of Racism, March 21st. We broke a rule today, Mr. Carlson said, to change minds tomorrow.
Eloquent.
The rule that white plays first, roughly the equivalent of having the advantage of the serve in tennis, dates back to the late 1800s and the emergence of the modern game. Before that, the player who moved first had his choice of colors. Interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
A UN website, movefореquality.com, said it did not mean to imply that the modern rule was racist in origin, but it said a symbolic switch between two of the world's greatest players carriers symbolic weight.
Yeah. Players carry, yeah. I think it's the fact that they had to say, look, we're not saying that the original origin of that was racist, because that's what so many people immediately would go
never
to.
Thought of that, though.
No shit.
Why does white get to go first, huh?
Right. That's why. But there are people that would absolutely immediately think that. They're like, "Oh, is that why they made it the rule?" It's like, no, we're not. That's not what it is. It's just a symbolism thing that we're doing now, just to make a statement.
It says the campaign highlights what happens when you step away from the board, where a fair world is not a reality for many, and the dream of having perfect equality between races is still far from coming true. But we're going to help that one chess piece at a time.
Exactly. Ask Mr. Magnus Carlsen when the last time he played.
So what about checkers?
The red one?
No.
The black ones.
They go first.
They only go first. Not those. The Native Americans will have their time at some other point.
Oh my God.
I'm really interested now to know if there are any black chess masters.
That's awfully racist of you.
Just to wonder, that factoid.
Yeah.
African American grand chess grandmasters. 1999, he earned the grandmaster title.
Sorry?
He earned the grandmaster title, making him the first black person to attain the title in 1999. Ashley is well known as a commentator for high-profile chess events. Sounds like there's one guy.
That's crazy.
In 1999. It is crazy. I just don't think it's a very popular sport with the African Americans. You know, it's not a very
Racist.
popular game. However, I am willing to bet there are very many African American and black players that are of grandmaster level. If you ever go to Central Park or Union Square in New York City, they have chessboards that are like a part of the thing, and all you have to do is bring your own pieces. There are guys that sit there day in and day out, and all they do is hustle tourists, and those guys are some of the most outstanding players. Like and they play speed chess. They play like insane games of speed chess, and they just fucking they never lose. And what they do is they just bet what you do it's a part of a tourist attraction. You sit down with one of these dudes and you bet him to a game, and he goes, "I'll only play you for $10." They put $10 down. He beats your ass in like 2 minutes, and that's it. It's these guys. Yeah,
it's a hustle.
It is a hustle. It's a hustle because they're good at playing that game. Here we go. Headlines that make no sense. We're all familiar with those. Let's see if we can make sense of this. Man leaves cat food cooking in oven of unoccupied apartment. Richmond Heights police blotter.
I love it.
Yeah, don't you? What is happening here? Richmond Heights, Ohio. You know where that is?
Sounds like, yeah, Cleveland.
Ooh. Let's see. A woman, 23. I thought it was a man. What the fuck is happening here?
Of course it's a woman.
Why? Because she's a cat lady?
Yeah.
That's sexist. Reported November 5th, she arrived at her apartment to find it full of water. She said clothing and shoes were placed into the bathtub with the water running, and the stove was left on with cat food inside. Maybe the cat.
Welcome home.
Maybe her cats were trying to fucking cook up some cat food.
That's definitely what was happening.
Yeah. She's like, I think my cats left the oven on. She said she and her boyfriend argued the previous day, and he had called her later that night and said he was at her apartment. Officers then learned neither the woman nor her boyfriend's lease the apartment. Oh, the plot
Squatters.
thickens. Oh, management asked that they both be banned from the property. The apartment below had its ceiling collapse due to the water. What about the poor cats? A resident reported November 8th the husband's... Okay, now it just keeps going on. There's just a bunch of little weird police things. Interesting. I like that.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Nice, quick little hitter. Next up, weird news. What do we got, Kristie?
Circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial! God damn it. You can't prove anything.
Alleged porch pirate arrested after wearing exact same shirt to court from surveillance footage.
I would have got away with it, too.
That is amazing. An accused porch pirate has been arrested after wearing the exact same shirt the very next day to a South Carolina courtroom that he had worn to steal packages from people's porches.
How did he get a court date the very next day?
Yeah, that's lucky.
That's the craziest thing. How'd you get a court date the next day, buddy?
The series of events began after a picture of a man in a green and red North Face shirt was posted to the Goose Creek resident group on Facebook by somebody claiming he had stolen packages that had been left on porches in the neighborhood. Beware of this porch pirate, the social media post began. This was around noon today in the Oaks. Notice the empty Amazon package in his hand. It is something he stole off a neighbor's porch and threw the empty package in my trash can. Dumb crook.
He's died.
And then stole the package off my porch, all on camera, and stuffed it in his backpack with whatever else he had stolen in the neighborhood. He was with a second person also on a bicycle. The police have been notified. And then he goes on to say that he went to court wearing the same shirt after stealing packages.
So did they get him?
Says sometimes people actually do make our job easy. This guy decided to come into our courtroom the day after the first post was made, and lucky for us, he was wearing the same shirt, and we are happy to say he is in custody.
This says so much. First of all, this guy went to court wearing a green, dirty North Face shirt. I mean, the guy's obviously not making good decisions, you know?
Yeah.
He's stealing things.
Not nice.
I mean, not nice things, you know? I mean, if he had...
I just did that thing my sister does, where when you're having normal, casual conversation, and then you say something that my nephew or your kid says, not nice.
Not nice things.
Really random.
I mean, if this guy had decent parents, he would know if you do end up going to court Wear a suit.
Right.
Wear something. Don't wear your dirty old shirt. Dirty old shirt. They probably know him by dirty old shirt. They come in there, hey, what's up, dirty old shirt? He's probably in court for a different offense. And they're like, hey, we got you here anyway. Do you know this? Does this person look familiar to you? Hold up a picture of him.
Nope.
No, not me. Not me, officer. Mr. Officer.
And now, another word from our sponsors. Hello, David Goldberg with Goldberg, Berg Gold and Bold Girk, law firm and associates for all law. Have you recently been accused or allegedly caught on camera stealing packages from someone's front porch and then arrive in court the following day wearing the same shirt as the suspect in the video, and then charged with that crime and made fun of on a podcast for being an idiot? Then you need to call Goldberg, Berg Gold and Bold Girk, law firm and associates for all law. We will not only rightfully defend you for being incriminated based on the circumstantial evidence of wearing the same shirt as a suspect in a video, we will also file defamation suit against the awful and low-grade podcast that so distastefully slandered your name. And we can do that because at Berg Gold and Bold Girk, law firm and associates for all law, we handle all law. So remember, it doesn't matter what sort. If it's in court, we're here for support.
We have another article. Zooming in, hot probe, ? Huh, interesting. Professor Sue Black carried human heads on flight as part of serial killer probe.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This one is also one of those confusing fucking headlines. Forensic scientist Professor Dame Sue Black, cool name, has revealed how she once transported 2 human heads in designer bags on a plane from Italy to Scotland. Cool.
What?
Yeah, cool. Professor Black had been asked to assist Italian police who were investigating a serial killer in the mid-1990s. She said she was moved to business class after telling an utterly horrified stewardess what she was carrying.
Why would you tell people?
She's excited. Like, hey, I got to tell somebody. These bags?
No.
Or she handed them to the steward. She's like, can I have these put in a special place? The steward is, they're really nice Louis Vuitton bags, but I mean, you can just put them under their seat. They'll be safe. No, it's not so much the bags. It's what's in them.
All right.
Or maybe when you fly in and out of the country, they have to give you a sheet of paper, and you have to write down all the things that you purchased for like taxes and tariffs. You have to like you have to, I can't remember what it's called. It's not like a disclosure. It's like a something that you have to do on the plane. And she asked the stewardess, she's like, I don't see anything on here for human remains.
Right.
How do I disclose human remains? She told host, Professor shared the story on the BBC's Big Scottish Book Club. Oh, shout out to another book club. Only they're probably reading stupid books. She told host Damien Barr she was asked to take the heads to Scotland to carry out a facial superimposition, a procedure where a photograph is matched to a skull, which was unavailable in Italy at the time. Because can't you just mail it? You just mail the heads? Well, that would be illegal. One of the challenges of transporting the remains, she recalled, was that they were in an advanced state of decay.
Oh my God.
They smelled kind of shitty. Oh, that's better. What would be worse? Somebody eating Indian food on your flight, or this lady carrying a head?
Indian food.
Yeah, I know. I got the stinkiest food.
It's so dumb.
She told host Damien Barr, plague victim. What? This goes unavailable at the time. The challenge is plague victim. So what they decided they would do was they would put each of the heads in white buckets that you could seal. And so we didn't disturb anyone at the airport. I would carry them in 2 very expensive designer carrier bags so that it didn't look obvious. Professor Black was given 2 letters in English and Italian explaining what she was carrying. She said, I gave her the English letter and she was utterly horrified, but moved me into business class, which I thought was very nice. These Louis Vuittons aren't just Louis Vuittons. They're bombs. I mean, they're human heads. But it was as if they had put razor wire around me because she totally ignored me for the entirety of the flight, like I was a plague victim. That's not very fair to plague victims to say that. Professor Black said a security guard at Heathrow Airport said the bags needed to be opened, so she gave him a detailed description of what he might find inside. Look,
Right.
You can look in it. You can feel free. You can. But before you do, I'm going to tell you, you might find a decomposing head from a person. Man, they'll just let anyone on these planes, huh? Could you imagine putting that through the little X-ray machine?
Jesus.
Like, can we put that back through again?
Right.
Put it back through. Hey, can you come over here and take a look at this? What do you think that is? We're going to have to look into that. Interesting stuff. That's pretty interesting. She looks excited to be talking about it. She's got a picture of her.
I mean, I kind of would be too if I was in her position.
Yeah, she's like...
That'd be kind of fun.
There's a fun story to tell. It's probably the most exciting part of her career. Actually, it sounds like she has a pretty exciting career to begin with. She was investigating.
She writes a book about it and all this stuff, and the guy killed and raped like 6 women or something like that. The guy that they convicted.
Oh, well, hey, man, if it got him convicted, fucking fly those heads around, baby. Get those heads on a plane. That's a good movie. That's the next movie. Heads on a plane. Severed heads on a plane. I'm sick of these motherfucking heads on this motherfucking plane.
I was going to tell you not your best work, but then you ended with that, and I liked it.
Thanks, baby. I love you, too. All right, last article. Kristie, take her away.
Google Maps gives bird's eye view of phallic field on PEI.
PEI.
Prince Edward Island.
Oh, wow. You must have read ahead.
No, I just worked at a restaurant that had PEI mussels, so I know they're Prince Edward Island mussels.
Oh, shit.
That's all. Stratford man says he cut shape of penis in field on a dare and as a protest.
More of a dare.
That looks like a straight up
dick. Wait, which one's going to get me in less trouble? Protest or the dare?
Protest.
Oh, yeah, it was a protest. Definitely a protest.
Stratford PEI property owner has taken manscaping to a whole new level. Oh my God.
That reminds me, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. And trimmers and shavers for your dick. Yeah, right. One day, maybe, if we're lucky. Sorry, continue.
Jamie Ricks cut part of an overgrown soybean field.
More like Jamie Dix.
That was good.
All right.
Into the shape of a 243 meter penis. Almost as big as yours.
Almost.
Not quite.
It's 245, but who's counting? More like centimeters.
Babe.
Sorry, gone.
Now captured on Google Maps in all its glory. Rick said it had started as an innocent crop circle about 18 months ago. Then I made a longer cut so I could drive down toward the end of the thing. And then it started to take shape. And someone said, why don't you make it into a giant Johnson? And I said, why not? Challenge accepted. And away I went.
But it was a protest.
Right. Rick bought the land in 2009, and it has since become a family jewel.
Oh, man, CBC.ca.
Oh, my God. It is zoned for residential, but he said he's not sure he has the tolerance to go through the red tape of developing it. He said the image is partly a statement of protest, more against the federal government, which is why he pointed it west toward Ottawa.
I'm sure.
The government doesn't seem to have much of a plan beyond 4 years in the next election. That's my feeling anyway. They'll say or do anything to get reelected.
So here's a dick.
Yeah, it's stupid. Rick said there hasn't been much reaction because people can't see it from the ground, even though it is surrounded by a walking trail. People who do see it or I show a picture to, they just think it's great and they laugh. Mm-hmm. I think if you're offended by anything, that's just a choice. Hey, that's kind of what you told me today.
Yeah.
Too soon to joke?
No. It's truth.
He kept it from his wife until about a year after he did it. She hasn't heard or seen or thought much about it. I don't think she'd like to be associated with it.
Sounds like it runs a little deeper than that, Mr. Ricks.
Now that the field has been exposed, he might turn it into something more useful. Now that it's on Google Maps, I could probably trim it to look more like a runway. Maybe someone will land there in an emergency.
I'm not landing on that dick.
I would.
Oh, girl. Be the first person to land an airplane on his dick. And that is our news. Thank you so much.
But first,
how about another word from our sponsors?
Jimmy Rick's Phallic Lawn Service. Anyone can clean up your yard, but Jimmy Ricks doesn't just clean up your yard, he makes it look rock hard. Edging, scaping, bush shaping. If it's plants, Jamie Ricks make it looks like it belongs in your pants. No job is too small, and for sure, no job is too large. Not for Jimmy Ricks, the man who put the landing strip on Prince Edward Island.
My husband Morty and I were so bored and tired of our landscape, wanted to spice things up a bit, so we called Jamie Ricks to come over and shape our bushes. He was in and out within an hour and did such a fantastic and smooth job. Now Marty and I just love to gaze out the windows at our giant cock-shaped bushes. The neighborhood loves them too.
Jimmy Ricks, you know what that lawn needs? Some fix. Call 6969-TRIM for a consultation.
Millennial Book Club. Millennial Book Club. The mummified bacon clown. We were very excited digging into the tomb. We've heard that there was a time when there were bacon clowns in this area of Egypt. For we see the paintings. And
I think I misunderstood.
The glyphs. And
continue, please.
And so when we finally excavated the mummified, we were very excited. We could tell because the size of the shoes and the coffin. Now the coffin was very small. And we opened it up. There was actually 14 mummified bacon clowns.
I thought they mummified the clowns in bacon.
Yeah, they did that too. It was a whole part of it. It was part of it. You're very correct. And we could also tell, sticking through some of the wrappings, was the rainbow hair. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the bulbous nose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very exciting. Very exciting.
So were these clowns were made of bacon? I'm confused.
Well, the bacon clowns they're clowns, and it was a cult sect of the Egyptian culture. Mm-hmm. They did, most of their rituals did involve bacon.
Okay.
And of course the traditional clown attire and dress. Interesting stuff. I wrote my thesis on them, and I'm just elated that we found these mummified bacon clowns.
Don't think I understand what a bacon clown is quite yet, but
yeah, well, you wouldn't.
Maybe I'll read your work sometime.
Maybe you would, but doubt it. This is the Millennial Book Club. Welcome to the Millennial Book Club, the MBC. We're just fucking watching Netflix. There's no books around here. There are books in this room, but I'll be damned if anyone reads them, if anyone can read them.
Not you.
Definitely not me. I've made it this far without learning, and why stop now? Why start now? Right? So we're just watching Netflix, and we're just watching Netflix originals.
Only.
Mm-hmm. If you can, watch TV, you can be a part of the Netflix original Millennial Book Club.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Exclusive.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Exciting.
Very.
Tremendous. And that is, this week was, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, do you?
Do you remember?
Do you?
Of course I remember. I watched it.
I kept, for whatever reason, in my head calling it The Legends of the Saqqara Tomb, but it's actually The Secrets. The Secrets of the Saqqara Tomb.
That is The Secrets of the Saqqara Tomb, and you're
Or
getting
just
mixed up with
Secrets
it.
of the Saqqara Tomb.
I think you're getting mixed up with that other historical documentary,
Yes.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's exactly
Yeah.
where I was going. Yes. I don't know why. I've been doing it all week in my head. The Legends of the Saqqara Tomb.
I always rooted for the monkey team.
Let me
I'm
guess.
sure Snake team.
I'm sure no one's surprised to hear that I obviously rooted for the purple barracudas.
The purple barracudas. What was the golden monkeys?
Ooh, yeah, good one.
The purple barracudas.
Blue parrot? No. They're blue parrots. They're blue birds.
I think so.
It was a blue shirt and a bird.
Of the Saqqara tomb.
Do you need to know how to spell Saqqara?
No, I don't, actually. Saqqara.
Wow.
Stupid. This is a Netflix original. IMDb gave it 7.3 out of 10. If I'm not mistaken, on my thing, I was 94% match for it. We're going to actually create a new... We were just talking about this before we started recording. We're going to create a new little profile.
But what's the purpose of the new profile for just the Millennial Book Club?
Just Millennial Book Club.
Yeah, why?
So that way, it because then it'll start suggesting things maybe that are more in line with the show. It'll give a
But I
percentage
feel like
match.
the show's all over the place.
It is, but we never know. Maybe it'll start only suggesting Netflix originals, like it notices that's all we watch. Maybe it will, and we'll also start getting percentage matches that are based on like the show instead of it based on like my profile or your profile, which I think it's a fun thing. Like, what's your percentage match? Because obviously mine's so muddled with, really high class, top notch shit.
Right. It just probably suggests so much anime.
No,
no
way. What are you talking about?
I mean, you go ahead and create that profile, and
that way every time we watch
I'm gonna
it,
keep mine.
Well, yeah, you will both keep our own, but every time we watch a Netflix original for the show, we'll just watch it on that account. That's it.
No, I understand. Sure, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
I
think it's I know.
That's the kind of excitement we need on this show. Usually there is a little synopsis, but there is not one here. What the fuck? It's just a documentary film after unearthing... here we go. We'll just go directly to the Netflix site. After unearthing a tomb that had been untouched for 4,400 years, Egyptian archaeologists attempt to decipher the history of the extraordinary find.
Of Wahtye.
Wahtye. This is fascinating.
Wow.
You were really excited to watch this.
Very much so.
So why?
Because I love it.
I
just love this whole era.
Yeah.
And the whole mystery behind it. And I'm really into a lot of the different conspiracy theories about the lost civilizations or that weird rise and fall in the level of intelligence.
Right.
And all that, like, unexplained why these people get so fascinated with solving it. I love it so much. In the same way that I love Ancient Aliens. And I think I just love anything that has to do with these ancient cultures.
Mystery.
Yeah, just because I think there's something like so sacred and beautiful about I just feel like these people are so in tune with the way I don't even know the right words to use, this like organic or very at this core function of the way they look at the world, the way they're in tune with the earth and their ideas of religion and science and the intersection of both of those. I just think it's all really beautiful.
The intersectionality of...
I just think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It is a very...
they get stuff that we don't.
Yes.
Like, what are you guys doing? I want to do what you're doing. Like,
right.
I was even thinking about that while we're watching it. All these religions that they follow, or whether they're still present or more of an ancient religion or whatever, seems so much more appealing to me than Catholicism or Christianity,
right.
which is silly because I think the only reason I'm so turned off by it is being going to Catholic schools my whole life. My mom was a pastoral minister of a Catholic church for 17 years. You know, this whole religion and everything about it was completely indoctrinated and 100%. You know what I mean?
Right. Which,
so I'm turned off by it.
Which most religions are. I mean, even these religions back then, I mean, there was definitely a certain level of indoctrination, I'm sure. Like, start them when they're young.
Yeah, I'm sure if this was like my religion or upbringing, maybe I would feel the same way. But I just feel like it's so beautiful. It feels closer to the truth to me for some reason.
I think, and I agree but I don't, when you say you feel closer to the truth, I feel it's closer to the truth of like what history actually was. As far as, I don't know if I feel the same way about their religion or
even I don't know like the details of the religion.
Yeah. And I think most of us don't know the intricacies. And so what they were excavating was a necropolis, and it's basically this area where just a bunch of people are buried and a bunch of things are buried throughout time. It's not like they just buried a bunch of shit here at one point. Yeah, because
some of them like 12,000?
Well, yeah, so you're mixing up what we ended up watching.
No, because I think they even did, there were some bodies that they dug up, like some of them were 400 to 600 BC, some of them were like 4,000.
Well, so if it was like if like some of the statuettes and little things they were digging up, it was like 500 to 600 BC, which is right around like 3,000 years. Because once you go back to 2,500 years, and then
I just thought it got pretty big I thought it went pretty far back.
It went, so the Wahtye tomb, the main tomb that they're digging up,
but not that one. The other ones went farther back, I thought.
The Wahtye tomb was the oldest one. So
it was?
Yeah. So the Wahtye, and when it says here 4,400 years, there was mentions of 4,500 years, and there was some, like, it was all over the place. But then they were also digging up, like, so the mummified cats, those were newer. They weren't as old. They were like by like 1,000 years maybe. And so it's kind of like this area is it's like a cemetery in that people weren't necessarily living there. They were living on like this other side and this other thing, and then they would have these tombs built and all the tombs and shit. And of course they have trash evidence, which is trash evidence and pottery evidence is like the main driving force for so much archaeology. So much archaeology is literally just trash. It's how they date things. It's how they find, like, discover shit. It's not like they dig up the tomb, but they mention it in this, that the tomb and all the beautiful sculptures and the writing on the wall is what they want their life to be. It's not what their life actually was. So which I
thought was really cool, because I never knew that or looked at it that way, and I really liked when they talked about that. It's
fascinating.
It makes sense, yeah.
It is, and she likened it to being on Facebook. It's like when you look at someone's Facebook, that's not what their life actually is. That's what they want their life to look like. It's what they're showing you, and it's the same thing. So when they are wanting to find out actually what was going on, they have to look at the bones. So she was looking at the bones, and she was like, these people died most probably from a sickness, and if they all died at once, then it was probably a transmutable sickness like malaria, which was not a surprising thing for someone like us to hear. It's like, oh, they died of malaria, but it would be the first cases of malaria death by 1,000 years, which is really fascinating. Really fascinating. Really fun, really fun, interesting fact to throw on top of that is mosquitoes are responsible for over half the deaths ever. This is the number one killer of human beings on the face of the planet.
Of human beings?
Human beings, yeah.
And now, another word from our sponsors. Welcome to podcasting's unchallenged authority on wealth, antiquity, mummies, and death. It's another dazzling Death Styles of the Rich and Famous. Meet the pharaohs of new and old. Discover how death's winners live, love, and get buried with their fortunes. Enter their dazzling world of luxury on privileged tours of the fabulous tombs they call home. Your host, Lobbin Reach, who circles the globe to find stories people will never stop talking about. On this Sunday edition, we visit Saqqara to meet a high priest of the underworld, a man of lavish living who maybe married his mom. From the old Sphinx to the glamour and glitz, Wahtye. Who was he and how did he die? This story and more when we return to Death Styles of the Rich and Famous.
Human beings. So literally of half the people that have ever lived or half the people that have ever died, over half of them, the death is directly linked to mosquitoes.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? And what's even more fascinating, Radiolab did a podcast on mosquitoes, and it's one of the very, very few things that we can completely eliminate from the ecosystem and it wouldn't throw it out of balance. It's no one animal's main source of food. So like if you eliminate it, it's not like bats would die off because they don't have a source of food. They don't really eat. They'll eat it if it's there, but it's not like their main. Same with like birds, anything. It's almost as if mosquitoes are literally here to kill humans, as like a way to cull the amount of humans on the face of the planet. So we could like eliminate them completely and it wouldn't throw any, the only thing it would throw out of balance is how many humans there are. We'd too many humans.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Which is really, really fascinating. And the reason it's so interesting when she was explaining that was, you know, you see what's on these walls, you see what's written here and what they want their lives to be and what they want their afterlife to be. But the realism of their life was much more drab, and like they got sicknesses, they all died young. So the other thing I wanted to say, and I mean, we can only obviously assume that, you know, the few people that were going through this, and it's interesting because this is their first and initial like inquiries or theories or hypothesis. It's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. These are their initial hypotheses that they have done. Like the lady digs up the bones, you see her looking at them, and then she goes, they could have died from malaria. And then, but that's not the end all be all. That's definitely not. There are, because what this guy was a part of, there's a good chance he was a part of a cult, which what cults have been a thing since the dawn of time. And they even explained it in this documentary that those cats, that was a cat cult. That wasn't a main religion by any means. That wasn't like the religion everyone was practicing. It was a sect of people that were involved in a cat cult, and there was many animal cults, as they said, but cats were obviously
I thought they did it to sacrifice the cats as an offering.
Yeah, to their cat god, because they had a religion based around the religion, just like a lot of cults today, are still based around other existing religions, but it's like they have like the main religion, and then a group of people break off and they're like, yeah, we have most of these things, but this particular person or this particular thing is the most. Are you texting? Are they a part of this conversation right now? What is going on?
I feel so bad. I totally forgot. My mom sent me this picture of this ginormous rotisserie chicken or turkey or something. And she said, interested? Got to pick it up tonight. I won't be home. I'll have stuff from my travels out for you and Isaiah. And I'm like, I definitely want to come get this chicken. Let's go to dinner. I'd rather get the gifts. She always buys me presents from everywhere on the fucking globe that she travels. Congratulations. You've made it to the list of people that get gifts now. And I said I wanted to pick it up, and she just texted me and said, duh, can't believe you didn't pick it up. No biggie, I'll give it to Shar. I lost you a chicken, baby.
You lost me a whole handle.
Hold on, I'll tell her I will be there. I'll be there by 10 o'clock.
Uh-oh.
We want the chicken, is what I'm saying.
We want the handle.
Like, even if I throw it away, I just like, I just feel so bad when she like wants to give.
Well, I mean,
me
that takes care of our dinner plans.
I don't want chicken.
Well, then you don't have to pick it up.
Anyway,
so sorry. So Miss Alina made a nice guest appearance through text. So yeah, it's just like most cults today aren't just 100% out of nowhere.
I really missed the whole talk about how they were a part of the separate sect that worshipped a cat god.
Yeah.
I thought they were just talking about that it was really normal because I thought it was like
normal.
common for Egyptians to like hold these cats in really high regard.
Yes. All of that happened. They did say all that. They said it was very, they said this area, so first of all, those cats were from a different time than Wahtye. They were not from the same time. So whatever specific, because so Wahtye was like supposed to be this high priest of whatever religion he was a part of.
Oh yeah, he was the great judge.
He declared himself a great judge to get out of being judged by Osiris. But he was a priest to somebody.
I thought they were like really excited at the end because they found this inscription or something that said the great judge, but that he said that about him, but I thought he was still like a part of that.
Yeah, so the reason they explained the inscription for him being the great judge, and their theory was that they're pretty sure he stole that tomb, most likely from his brother, and to circumvent the weighing of your heart against the feather of like truth or whatever, and you sit in front of the 42 judges and Osiris, and you have to proclaim to each judge that you are that you didn't do these sins.
Yeah.
They said there's a really good chance that he declared himself a judge to circumvent this stealing sin.
Yeah, that was cool.
But what they did say at the very beginning was just based on the tomb and based on the prestige and everything, he was most likely a priest to a pharaoh or to a higher person. He was like the religious figure for that higher person. But this cat sect where they found the first ever mummified lion, which is there's depictions of lions in this area of the world are not uncommon. I mean, even the Sphinx, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, is it's pretty well accepted at this point that it was originally a lion, and a pharaoh reshaped its head to be his own head. So it was a lion to begin with, and there's inscriptions of lions, and they knew that they really held lions in high reverence, but they never found a mummified lion. I mean, they find mummified cats all the time.
I also thought it was because the time that they were doing that was under the constellation of Leo.
Right. So again, you're mixing up all the stuff that we heard from Graham Hancock after the Saqqara tomb.
Right.
So everything that Graham Hancock expresses about the history of where this shit comes from is quote unquote revisionist history. It's underneath a different umbrella. It's not none of the people in what we watched would agree with very, very minute things, and even things that seem so terribly obvious, they would absolutely be like, no, that's not a thing. But sticking with like that was these people that were mummifying the cats, and they said they would have a temple, and there would be a cult again. So they all, for the most part, believe this Osiris and his wife and the gods of the underworld and all that stuff. But then you have these offshoots, just like we have today we have like Christianity, but then there's some crazy fucking guy that creates an offshoot cult. It's still based in a lot in Christianity, but back then it was rampant. It was just fucking everywhere. You would run into cults all over the fucking place, and it wasn't like the main thing. And so that's they expressed that pretty early on that there were a lot of cults in this area and buried in this area. A lot of evidence of that. And this one, so they would have a temple. They would have like one main cat or one main animal that portrayed was the personification of the god, the embodiment of the god, and that cat would be treated like the god. And then they would give offerings of trinkets and all that kind of stuff, and they would also give blood offerings, which they had like cat farms for. It was such a big thing. They would have cat farms that you would literally, farm cats just to be offered as sacrifices. So I think that all of that is just so interesting. But then it starts to, because as somebody who does find, just like you, I mean, I find that shit really, really fascinating. Not just this shit. I do find everything that they're doing fascinating, but I find the mysteries of the different pyramids, and I don't mean like how they were built, but I mean like the times when they were built, and like there are newer pyramids that are shittier than the older ones, which doesn't make logical sense. As civilizations progress, their architecture gets better, not worse. So it doesn't make any sense. Why would you have an older pyramid that's the construction of it is better, and then you have pyramids built after that and it's just like sloppy and shitty? Like, right. It doesn't make sense, right? And those are the kinds of things that aren't answered, and they don't have really good answers for. But those aren't questions they would bring up. So this is really just like cut and dry. We opened up a brand new pyramid, or we opened up a brand new tomb. This is our initial look at the tomb. This is our initial ideas of the tomb, initial hypothesis of who this person was. And I love it. I mean, I love all that shit. I think it was really fucking fascinating. But having it fit into the overall, I think it's very, very, not naive, but arrogant for them to, I mean, it was like one lady took one look at a set of bones and said, it could have been malaria. I mean, that's a good thing. And then they're like, it's malaria. Like, she I mean, they
right.
did.
I thought it was cool though, because they're like documenting, the first reaction, their first findings. None of this shit was like taken off to any lab yet. You're just looking at this woman who's a master of a craft of what she does, is not only obviously incredibly educated and smart, but spiritually tied to it. I loved how she was like brushing all the sand off and trying to really feel these people and feeling how sacred it was to be the first people. You're the first person to see the face of Wahtye and his family in thousands of years. And so I get it. I agree. But I thought it was just more about the initial findings.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool.
I agree. And you're right. That aspect, if you boil it down to, because it's hard to come to a thing like this. Like if let's say, because after I wanted to show you some, things with Graham Hancock and whatnot. And then, but following that, like if Graham Hancock were to watch this, he wouldn't be able to set that shit aside and just watch this. He would be like, nah, this is bullshit. This is, this. It would be very hard. But the thing is, just like you said, it's kind of not about that. It's kind of just about the initial discovery and the fascination, and like there is this innate thing in human beings to dig for treasures, to find treasures. It's the same thing that gets tickled when you're gambling or you pull a slot machine. Like, I'm moving through all of this chaos. Am I going to find a treat in this chaos, Or where can I look? Where can I find it? And that is like, I mean, it's innate. It's something that makes us human. It's what, is a basis for our survival. And it was very, very spiritual for these people, all of these people. Like it was really fucking interesting. Like all these guys are like, there's just some dude with a fucking turban and a cigarette constantly hanging out of his mouth, and he's walking around barefoot, and he's got like an Adidas shirt on. And then you're like, this guy's just digging up sand all day. But then he's like, my father was a digger. My father's father was a digger. I got my son here so he can learn to be a digger. It's like, holy shit. Like this is like a prideful thing. Like it's not, they say it's honest work, and I'm sure they're not fucking making a killing, but like they love it, and you've got to assume they love it. Obviously not for the fucking money. It's for like that experience of like, I'm the first person to lay eyes on Wahtye in 4,500 years.
Yeah, and they were talking about how, you know, they're doing the exact same things that the ancient Egyptians were doing.
Yeah.
Digging through all the sand, using the same tools, using the same methods and all this stuff, and how they felt connected to all that. I thought that was really cool, too.
It is. You know, it's got to be a very, like, imagine, it's hard for us to imagine as Americans, as we came and took this country over just over 200 years ago. It's like, but 2,000 years from now, there still might be Americans here that are going to start digging through some.
Right, I thought about that too.
Yeah, and that would be, you know, really. I mean, these people are Egyptian, and they're digging through ancient Egyptian past and history to, like, you know, 2,000, 4,000, 4,500 years of fucking history, and I'm like, you know, dig up this tomb and. This tomb is of Abraham Lincoln. Who the fuck was Abraham? We don't even fucking know. Like,
right.
Who was this fucking pharaoh? Like, who the fuck was this guy? Like, I think that's, yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And I couldn't help but think, though, I guarantee, and there was like another, the other guy was the foreman. You know, the guy always, he was walking around with a stick. You never saw him doing anything. He was literally the most foreman on the face of the planet. He never lifted a fucking finger. He had a cane. He would tap on shit with the cane, be like, dig there. All right, guys, I need strong ones over here. And he would just sit there and watch him. It's like, dude, you couldn't be more of a fucking foreman. But he's like, my grandfather was a foreman. My grandfather's grandfather was a foreman. They owned this land. And yeah, and they were talking like, they're using these pickaxes to dig. And then all of a sudden they'll unearth like a fucking pickaxe. It's like 2,000 years old. Like, they're using the same tool and they dig up a fucking pickaxe. It's fucking fascinating. I forgot what I was going to say.
So how would you rate it?
I would rate it, if you, based on my own interest in this shit, it's a must watch. Yeah. It's a must watch just because it's like, wow, like, how could you not be drawn to the excitement of these people and the of what they're doing and the love of what they're doing, regardless of if you have any preconceived notions about history or ancient history or how we got to where we are. Nobody knows. Even the people that are speculating, they might be closer, they might be farther from the truth, but still nobody fucking knows. Like, and no one's gonna know until we're able to really, I don't know, find something. Even if we found everything, we still couldn't know everything. It's just, there's too much mystery in our past. Here's something I want to ask. How do you feel about them digging up the dead?
I think about that a lot while we're watching it, actually. Yeah. So, like, talking about how happy they think Wahtye would be that they're doing all this stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of like one of those things, almost reminds me of, like, deciding about your body being dug up for, like, scientific reasons, or if you're willing to donate your body for medical research and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's, like, necessary. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know the answers, yes. And I want to see what they find, and I get it. But at the same time, the whole time I'm watching, I just can't help but think that these people spend their entire lives, is what they were saying too. You know, Wahtye's entire life was making sure he's building this tomb, and all the effort that goes into it and all the things that they do.
Preparing for death.
Yeah, preparing your body and what they want that to be for the afterlife and this special sacred place and all these things to make sure that they can find themselves. They're creating these false doors to make sure that they have entry and exit points.
Right. And then they dig up the body and they're like, all right, get this shit out of here. Let's
yeah, I'm like, oh my God, would Wahtye really be happy that you're doing this?
So,
other than the recognition that I'm sure he wants, obviously, because he's glorifying himself in the whole process.
And you're right. So it is like this double-edged kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where I think they are right that Wahtye does want the infamy. They want this glorification. But at the same time, you know their religion, and you know that they want their bodies perfectly preserved and kept in this tomb that was built for it. And you're like, get that shit out of here.
Right.
Let's fucking dig it up. Like, I think it would be interesting if what they would do with this stuff, instead of, like, they would dig it up, they would take it, they would do x-rays and scans, maybe take samples, little things, so they could really, like, as many pictures, document, but then, like, put it back.
Yeah.
And you can even put it back in such a way with, like, plexiglass, like, it's like, have you ever, like in Pompeii, you know, Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius erupted and everyone was covered in ash. If you go there, everything is still, the site itself is the museum, right? The site of Pompeii is the museum. So you go and you walk through and everything's kept as it is. And then like around bodies on the ground, they just have like a plexiglass thing around it, and you can go and you can look at it and observe it, but everything's kept. Like they could do the same thing with this tomb. Like this tomb could be turned into a historical site. They could put the bodies back in respect to their ancient fucking culture. Like put it back.
Right.
Put it back where it was. Put it back maybe even nicer, like arrange the bones nicer or something. Like
right.
Put them back in a nice little sarcophagus and put like a little thing so you can like go down there and you can look at it. But I really don't know if I agree with them. Like, fucking get that shit out of here.
Yeah.
Let's clean it up. Take
yes
it out.
and no, but like, what's the other option? Not to discover any of it? It just seems... I know what you're saying. Put it back. I know.
But you discover it because we need to. We have this yearning that will never satisfy. Will never satiate the want to know about our history. So in doing that, you do both. You dig it up. You get to learn about it. You can document all of it, and then you can put it back.
Yeah.
And so now you're respecting them and what their wishes were, that they obviously know what their wishes were.
Right.
They know that these people wanted to be fucking left there, and it's a part of their like journey to the afterlife. And I think that was, I think it's really, really interesting about the lion. And so there were lions arguably in that area, but not 4,500 years ago. If there was a lion there 4,500 years ago, it was brought there from further south in Africa and brought north for this purpose. I mean, there are remains of a lot of different types of animals that aren't in that area that were brought there. I mean, the Egyptians were arguably one of the first seafaring cultures, like the Greeks and the Egyptians. So it's, that was a very common thing for them to find an animal and then bring it back. But there were absolutely lions in that area. And what we were talking about, or you said about the rising in Leo thing, that is an aspect that Graham Hancock uses to explain. And I'm sure, a lot of people listening to this show, if Jeff and Nelly are listening, they're very aware of that. I've listened and talked about this stuff directly with Jeff, but maybe somebody else hasn't heard about it. It's so interesting. And the clip that we watched, remember the clip we watched, it was like Graham Hancock, and then you had this other guy, Randall Carlson, who's fucking mad genius. I would love to just show you a podcast with him on it. And then this other guy who's like this academic in ancient studies, and it's almost like they invited him on to have like this debate.
Right. And
you just saw right there, like literally, what's his name? Randall Carlson, like in the midst of the conversation on his laptop, literally looks up a peer-reviewed research article in one of the most prestigious research journals in the world. Nature is one of the most, it's like, if it's written in Nature, it's fucking, it's religion at that point, right? He literally looks it up then and gives all these reasons for why this area would be flooded at this time, the geological fucking reasons why it would be flooded and why you would see this stuff there. And the guy's like, yeah.
Right.
It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you... It doesn't make any sense. But like, so the argument with the Sphinx, first of all, it's something, I learned in school that the head of the Sphinx was altered by a pharaoh. Mm-hmm. And that's the desecration of this shit. Like, the Egyptians that we see in this were not the original Egyptians. The original Egyptians were, what did they call them? They were they had a name for them, like this
Zetepi, or
Zetep,
some place I don't remember.
Yeah. It was like the original people, like the old ones, the ancient ones. Mm-hmm. And what would happen was, or the idea is that these Egyptians that were unearthing, the people that are buried in these tombs and the mummies that we find, are the new Egyptians that moved back in after a a suspected cataclysm, they moved back in and then tried to like take things back over or like restart things. And that's why you see things like shittier pyramids. And that's why you see, again, you see those people with like a pharaoh comes in and he doesn't give a shit, because pharaohs were not just the kings, but they were gods on earth. So anything they say goes. So if the god king literally points at the Sphinx and says, I want that to be my head, it's just a complete desecration of a much more ancient culture by thousands and thousands of years. But they're going to do it. They're just going to destroy this fucking thing and change its head. But the mystery of the Sphinx is that the stone that it's built from is quarried right there in the Giza Plateau, where the Great Pyramid of Giza, like the biggest one, whereas those stones are quarried from like 300 miles south and brought there, which is fucking mind-blowing to begin with. I mean, some of those, hundreds of those stones are like 70 tons a piece, and they moved them over 300 miles to build this fucking thing. But the thing that's very, very fascinating is that they cut the rock right there, and then they cut it, and then they build a Sphinx, right? So where they cut the rock from, there's erosion. And archaeologists, who are not geologists, look at that, and they've said for however many, since like the 1950s, which, what did we know in the 1950s? Like, what we knew 2 decades ago is already fucking wrong and stupid. So why is it that whatever these people discovered in the 1940s and 50s, and what they wrote down as like the archaeologists at that time said, this is the narrative, this is what it is, why are we still sticking to it? It's like, there's so much new shit out, like, why are you going to stick to it? But like, they say it's from wind and sand erosion. But then there's a lot of very respected geologists, like Robert Schoch, who's a geologist from Boston University, went out there and he looked at it and he said, this is not wind erosion. This is not the kind of shit that you get from wind erosion. This is water erosion. Have you ever, when you were out west, so when you've gone to like Las Vegas to visit your brother and stuff, have you ever seen on the mountains, like when you're driving somewhere and as the mountains get closer to like the foothill, they have like these weird like lines through them and stuff?
Yeah.
That's from rain erosion. That's from rain constantly falling, and where the rain runs, it always goes to the place of the least resistance. Yeah. And so it always goes to that same place, and it washes out looser sediment, and over time it creates that. That's the same structure. It looks the exact same. But why that's so fascinating is because there wasn't any rainfall substantial enough to do that in that area 4,500 years ago. There was none. There wasn't any until you go back almost 12,000 years. Mm-hmm. That's the only time, and then prior to that, where you would see where that entire area wasn't a desert, it was all like lush jungles. And that's where you would see that an amount of rainfall that would actually cause that sort of erosion. And not to mention, it's not like just a couple of rainfalls. So they would have to build that thing, and then it would have to sit with that rain for like hundreds of years, constantly being rained on to create that erosion. Yeah. It's fascinating. It's so fascinating. And there was another thing that Graham brought up. There's no mention anywhere in Egypt, in the Giza Plateau, of a date of when the Sphinx was built. There's no glyphs, there's no references at all to when it was built. So no matter who you are, you're speculating. You're speculating if you're an archaeologist who sticks to the original dogma, and you're speculating if you're Graham Hancock, right? I think it's really fucking interesting shit.
Yeah.
But there's... Am I boring you?
No.
I feel like I'm just talking a whole lot.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I just feel really... I get uncomfortable when I'm just sitting here preaching for so long.
You do it every day.
Do I? Now listen to the things I have to say. I am a man, and I'm going to say the things, and you have to listen because you are the woman. And And now, another word from our sponsors.
Hi, Dave Goldberg with Goldberg, Berg Gold and Boldgerg Law Firm and Associates for All Law. Have your ears begun to bleed because of the extensive droning on by a podcast host about irreverent historical factoids? Because of the bleeding of your ears, did you ruin your favorite headphones or shirt? Were you maybe showing this podcast to a friend and their ears are bleeding as well? And now friendship is ruined because they will never again take a suggestion from you? Did you beat the nearest dog to you within an inch of its life because of the emotional roller coaster that you experienced? Because your ears were bleeding and now you are facing animal cruelty charges? If this or anything like this has happened to you, please call Berg Gold and Boldgerg Law Firm and Associates for All Law, so we can get you the justice you deserve and make that small-time garage podcast suffer. And remember, it doesn't matter what sort, if it's in court, we're here for support.
So what Randall was saying at that point, there was a time about 12,000 years ago, and I think shit was super lush, and then there was an ice age, and then that ice all melted rapidly. It wasn't like it melted over time. It was like it melted in some places in the course of days, and there's so much geological evidence to prove that and to show it. In the Americas, in Europe, there's evidence in Washington and stuff of I don't know how many billions of gallons of water all moved through certain areas over the course of a day. And it's only been in the last couple of years where they've actually now pinpointed certain spots where they're pretty sure that meteors hit in these spots. The thing is, we don't have craters because where they hit were on the ice sheets. So there were ice sheets up in Canada and Montana and those places that were 2 miles thick. So if you have 2 miles of ice, just fucking straight ice, and a meteor hits it, there's not going to be any real evidence on the ground.
Yeah.
Because it hit the ice, and then it vaporized it all in an instant. But that's where all of there isn't an ancient culture on the face of the planet that doesn't have a flood myth. There's the Epic of Gilgamesh. There's the Noah's flood. The Tibetans have their own flood myth. South Americans, ancient Aztecs, they all have their own flood myth. Every single ancient culture has their own flood myth. So at that point, it's pretty. There was massive flooding. There was massive deluges of water, as they say, that resculptured, and not only that, but there's evidence within the human genome in genetics that show that there was a massive bottleneck. So at one point, and that's because the how do I want to say it? The array of genetics, or they're all it's a bunch of people all died at once. And there's not inbreeding, but there wasn't a variety of genetics. A lot of people died. And during that time when the ice age was happening, because so much of the water was locked up in ice, it was very arid and dry and miserable in most places on the planet. So if you're going to have a civilization, it would have to be on coastal areas because you need water. You need to be in these. That's the only places there were to survive. So when everything melts instantly, those are all the things that are completely going to be destroyed.
Right.
And I think the other thing that is super, super interesting is right now in today's world, if something like that were to happen again, all of these first world countries and societies would completely be we would have nothing. We would know nothing. We're too reliant on what we have. The only people that would be left would be the indigenous peoples of South America or the people in Africa that are already living tribal lives. Mm-hmm. Those are the only people that are going to be left. because they're the people already living that way. And then they're going to be left to move forward, and they will tell stories of us. We're just regular people. We're not extreme or fancy people, but in a lot of ways, they look at us as gods because of our technology, because of the things we have. So that's why, these ancient Egyptians, these ancient people, they looked to this older civilization as gods. They were these fantastic, amazing things. We don't know what their technology was. It probably wasn't cell phones. It probably wasn't, anything like that. But like what they did have was just mind blowing to these people who were hunter-gatherer tribes. They didn't, And this concludes my TED Talk. You guys can show up next week for another edition of. I think Ancient Aliens is very interesting and very fun to play with, but I think it's more likely that a lot of the fascinating things that we don't have answers to are from civilizations that we have no evidence of. The only evidence we have is that of this amazing pyramid that we can't wrap our heads around how they built it. So I think that's kind of more plausible. More, not to say that we've never been, aliens don't exist, or we never visited, or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But I just think that's more. And the thing that you were saying, just to wrap it up with the Leo thing, I think is really, again, it's like really fucking fascinating. So they were a very astrologically driven society, and most ancient cultures were. And there's really only two things that in a cataclysm, when a great catastrophe happens and everything's washed away by water, there's only really two things that will ever survive, and that is the stars in the sky and stone. So that's why that's all we have. All metals, all the concrete, everything we have over the course, I think it's like 3,000 years. If it was just left to sit for 3,000 years, it would all be dust. It wouldn't exist. It wouldn't, unless you built a granite structure.
Right.
Granite structures would be the only thing carried forward. So that, and then the stars in the sky are fixed. They're never going to change. They're always going to be in the same spots. I mean, throughout a 26,000 year cycle. So what's really interesting is that if you go back to that time of when there would be rainfall in that area of the world where the Sphinx is built, at that time, it's an equinox. The structure is built perfectly in line with the summer equinox. So on the day that the sun rises perfectly during the equinox, it's perfectly aligned with the Sphinx, right? During that time, the sun rising, the astrological sign on the other side of the sun was Leo, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And if it was, like they said, if it was built in the time of Taurus, like why wouldn't it be built as a bull? I mean, there's plenty of bulls all over. You guys said there's plenty of bulls all over. Why wouldn't it be built in the shape of a bull instead of a lion at that time? And now you talk.
Amazing. I love it. I must watch. I loved it. I thought it was really great.
I'm sorry.
No, I love it.
I find this stuff so very fascinating, and I don't talk about it a lot with a lot of people. So whenever I get a chance to beat someone's ear who hasn't heard a lot of this stuff, I like to just really beat.
It was a recap. You just recapped the podcast, that Joe Rogan podcast that we listened to, all that stuff. It was like all tying everything we listened to after back together with the Saqqara tomb. No, I think it's really fascinating. I loved it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, now your thoughts.
What are we watching next week?
Wow.
Well, what is it?
I don't know. Do you want to hear how they date stuff?
Yes.
So they date stuff based on...
You're being serious.
Organic materials. It's because
I like how I try to talk about something. You're like, no. You're confusing that with the other podcast. And then you went on for like 30 minutes about all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to because
I know. I'm just being a smartass.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because you're sounding not smart now.
I know.
Now you're sounding mean. Is this where you want to be when Osiris comes back? And you have to sit in front of the 42 judges and you have to tell them each one of the sins you did not do. They'll go, Kristie, were you a total bitch to your husband? And you'll go, no. And they'll go, bullshit. And then your soul will be devoured by a crocodile-headed man.
Yes.
Yes. Next week on the Millennial Book Club.
What are you going to tell us about next week?
Oh, holy shit. We weren't recording.
You're ridiculous.
I know. We were recording. I was trying to freak her out. That's happened before. It has happened. It's not fun having a conversation like that twice because I would start from
having a presentation or a conversation.
Presentation.
Thank you.
Look at you. I'm sorry. I get excited.
No, I love it. I
No,
think
you
it's
don't.
great.
You're being so. I'm just trying to buy time while I pull this up. Next week. Next week on the Millennial Book Club, be sure to watch I'm Thinking of Ending Things. No clapping.
Woo!
There you go.
I can't wait to hear how you feel about it.
Wow. Somebody get this bitch a McDouble. Dang, girl. You need a Royale with cheese. Nothing is as it seems when a woman experiencing misgivings about her new boyfriend, sounds perfect for you, joins him on a road trip to meet his parents at their remote farm.
I'm actually really excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's this one's a movie.
Yes.
And it was written by it's directed by Charlie Kaufman, who he directed Eternal Sunshine. Is that what it was, or he wrote it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely has that vibe of like this is a very surreal kind of mind-bendy little journey that we're gonna go on. We were gonna watch it. We came down to Cadaver or this movie, and we ended up
Is that
watching
what it was? I know we talked about watching this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and then we didn't watch this one because Cadaver was more in line with like Halloweener.
Yes.
So we ended up doing this. Any toodle farts.
Don't you want to know my percentage?
Yeah, what is your percentage? It's 91%.
Me too.
Oh, it's because I screenshotted this from your account. Alrighty, everybody. If you have any thoughts on the Saqqara tomb, if there's anything you want to talk about or preach about to Kristie, she's very good at listening. She will never roll her eyes, and she'll
I actually
totally.
didn't roll my eyes at all.
I know you didn't, but I'm just trying to. Well, yes, you did. They don't know. She won't daydream even just a little bit, and she won't get salty about anything. You can totally whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You can write into roadsodamail@gmail.com. Let us know what you think, what your thoughts are about the Millennial Book Club, because that's what a book club is. What's the point of having a club for books if you're not going to talk about it and discuss what you read?
Yes.
We didn't read anything. So yeah, let us know what your thoughts of
I'm thinking of ending things.
I'm thinking of ending things. Booyakasha! Bam bam!
We still really need to watch Borat.
Oh yeah, the new one?
Yeah.
And the old one, why not?
Yeah, classic.
Classic. I'm gonna get that thong for you.
That thong?
That lime green thong.
I thought you were trying to say song for a second. I don't know why. I'm like, a thong?
We're gonna
idiot?
get the thong for you. But the thong. You like the thong? Thong, thong.
I think you should wear the fucking outfit.
I think we both should.
Oh my god, next Halloween.
I think, and we should both wear mustaches.
Oh, dude, please.
I don't know if they make one that could really, hold back those tits.
Just cover the nippies.
I mean, babe, it's just the slightest of movement, breeze. Somebody looks too quickly, your tits are gonna jump out. Jesus Christ. Well, that was a nice, educational, fun lecture.
I think it's going to be pretty easy for you to edit. It's just going to be one solid, nothing to break up, nothing to tweak. You just...
Yeah. Maybe shave it down here
No.
and there.
No.
You're right. Gold
No.
throughout. Jesus Christ. I don't know what happens. You get to going and you get excited and you just So what did you learn?
I mean,
Where do you start?
Where do I start? Oh man. So much.
Mm-hmm. Like?
So much. Do you have 50 minutes? Because I could recap it.
Go
for
ahead.
You.
And go.
I can go all
So what did you
through it.
learn?
That you are very passionate about an array of topics that could all be cohesively tied to the inspiration of one show that was actually my choice that I was very excited about.
Oh, now it all comes out.
I mean, we've talked about the
Now.
last couple. I was really excited about it. If anybody wants to know what I thought of the show or some things that I liked about it, please feel free to write us in and phone us in.
Well, I mean, I asked you a couple times. Why didn't you take your chance then?
Did you?
I did. I said, and now you talk. And I said, what do you think? And you said, I don't want to talk.
It's not what happened.
Yes, it is. You want to go back and listen?
Yeah, in the beginning you asked me and I started to talk about it, and then you went on to a lecture of all of the facts that we have learned, discussed, and you rewatched in the past 24 hours. And we watched, so the Saqqara Tombs, I think about 2 hours, and then we watched 2 hours of a podcast. So you took a 4-hour lecture and put it into 50 minutes. And I just appreciated your passion and desire, and you're so good at compiling and recalling all this
Just reach. If you
information.
could just reach across this table and pat right there, just right on
You
my
just-
back. Thank you, baby. Oh yeah,
It was
there you go.
50-minute
Get it.
flex, and I just really wanted you to see. I know you were really looking for those big dick veins, and I just wanted to let you have them.
Thanks, baby. Is that what you learned?
Yes.
Sounds like you just. It sounds like what you do on a test when you don't have an answer, and you just write a bunch of gibberish, and you're like, there's an answer in there somewhere, and then the teacher just goes, well, this is just too many words to read, so 50%.
Sounds a lot like your Netflix review.
Does it? You think you're? Oh, now you think you got jokes too? You know what I learned? I learned that Kristie ain't got no jokes. Just learned it just now in this wrap-up session. What up with that then? You know what I learned? I learned that, and all the puns that they had about the Prince Edward Island penis, none of them were any puns about it being pierced.
Prince Albert. Well, I guess it's Prince Edward.
Oh, a Prince Albert.
Yeah, is the name of the
Prince
piercing.
Edward.
Right.
That's why. Makes perfect sense. You know what railroad
Wait.
tracks are? The piercings?
Like Jacob's Ladder?
Oh, is that what they call it? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's what they call it up in Ohio. They got Pop and Jacob's Ladder. Down here we have soda and railroad tracks.
And the place you can buy your hot sauce already mixed in with your ranch.
Bodega.
Fucking have at it. Mm-hmm. Why don't you put on your glasses for that one?
Why don't you put on your glasses to cover up those black eyes? Huh? How about that? Those black eyes that you hit when you fell down the stairs. A weird placed doorknobs. Up top, baby.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. Anything else you learned?
No.
Or you just want to clam up again and say, no.
I
Are
mean,
you
are you
gonna
gonna bulldoze this segment too, or
gonna-
should I talk?
You're gonna hit up your boyfriend after this?
Which one?
The Crusader?
Which one?
Ooh. Wow. I'm gonna need a minute, guys. If you're a boyfriend of Kristie, call in 706-200-1213. I've got some talking. Got some choice
We know
words.
you do.
Oh, this bitch is on fire. Somebody call the fire
I
department.
love you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's not going to help you now. It's not going to help you now. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you had a good week. I hope you have a good week. Be sure to watch next week's Millennial Book Club. I'm thinking of ending things.
Well,
I know, right? We'll see how that goes. Write in roadsodamail@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Please. Leave a review so we can read your reviews, and it helps us out. Thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, this week, go to bed early.